Recently, I was able to summon an ambulance, my next-door neighbor, my family, and my doctor without picking up a telephone. I used this remote control to contact Life Call.
I'm having chest pain.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
So call to get free details by mail right away.
I don't know no better, so let's blame the weather, 'cause I got no care when I hit my groove. 'Cause I got no care when I hit my groove. Well, my music's rolling, I'm moving to that kick.
Alrighty, this is Behind the Cork with Eric Rocha. Let's go to the left.
Mitchell Verzi of the Verzi Triplets. Follow us on TikTok at Verzi Triplets. Still desperate.
What, desperate?
Yeah.
No. We all are. Luke Allen of the Allen family. At Uncle Luke 2 on Instagram. Live from the 405 podcast if you don't get enough of my hijinks on this episode.
Alrighty, and our guest, go for it.
This is Nick Simmons of the Willfully Ignorant podcast. Since we're throwing podcasts out there, I guess Instagram, not Nick Simmons.
There
You
it
have
is.
a podcast? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just started.
Oh, no shit. What, like one episode?
Yeah, we just got our first episode out on
Oh,
iTunes.
nice.
Is it
Fucking A.
you and who else?
I don't know if you know Eagle Witt. He's a New York comic. Oh, okay.
You're from New York, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And then you picked L.A. Perfect time to move out here?
Yeah, it was perfect timing. It was the worst, too, because like everything was shut down in New York, and the gyms were shut down. And I was like, perfect. Gyms are open in L.A., and the third day that I got here, they shut down. I'm like, this feels fucking personal now. You know what I mean?
So back in, what, March? Last March?
Moved here in July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that does suck.
Damn.
They were open for one glorious month.
Yeah.
Again, and they were like, cool. And then it closed again.
There's still some open, but you gotta know where to go. Yeah, the secret sauce.
He's
not the
Governor
outdoor
Newsom,
weird.
he's lying. He's being very typical at this point. He's lying.
Well, you do the outdoor shit, which
Yeah,
is
outdoor
bananas. Yeah.
That's what I've been doing, too.
Yeah.
I've gotten really used to it. I'm going to be bummed. Well, when the heat kicks in, I won't, but I'm almost going to be bummed when it moves back inside because it's kind of fucking nice.
Yeah.
I watch birds fight and shit up in the fucking air. It's real it's fucking salt of the earth. Like, this is how the Native Americans did it.
I'm still indoors right now, and I'm like, there's no way I could do outdoors.
Yeah.
No way.
How come? Why?
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to be cold and work out at the same time.
But it's nice. It keeps you because then you don't get all fucking sweat unless you like it.
But then I can't wear my tank top, and show off.
Dude, you'll get warm up fucking quick, and it's warmer out than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was gonna say, I almost
67.
like
It's like perfect.
I almost like working out in the cold better because like you feel like you earned your workout
Yeah,
more.
dude. It's
Where
a
you're
real
like,
Rocky Four shit.
In
Steam
California.
coming off. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. I love it.
I don't mean to be a dick, but I'm gonna go with him just because he's bigger. Yeah, I think he might know. I don't know. Honestly, there's not a person at this table I wouldn't want to see with their shirt off. So salute.
Fair
gentlemen.
enough.
There it is.
Thank you.
Anyways, I wanted to have Nick Simmons on here. Nick, you are a funny motherfucker, dude. You were like one of the. I feel like we traded, and we got like when we got like CC Sabathia. It was like, woo, we got it. Like, this is fucking awesome. Or like Randy Johnson, but if he were producing when we got
During the steroid era?
I thought you were talking about another comic for a second. I was like, I'm trying to dig into my name for brains, and I was like, oh no, they're just fucking talking about football.
Yeah,
I-
no, it's
sorry.
baseball.
Sorry, boys.
You're not a sports guy, huh? Not even Buffalo Bills, nothing?
No. Fuck no, not especially not them. Are you kidding me? That's why I left. I want to get as fucking far away from.
Well, what about the
Boston.
like the Pittsburgh? The Pittsburgh.
It's Pittsburgh. It's fucking 500 miles away.
Well, wait. But he used to follow sports. What was that college team that used to play in Buffalo?
Oh, the Buffalo Squirrel Chasers.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah, what was their record that? What was it in 1996?
6-0.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What?
If he don't know, nobody knows.
Yeah, they had a two-banger in the fucking third header. That one year, that was something. I mean, I lost fucking 2 bits on that. I was up 25 and it was 70 over.
Oh,
And
really?
I fucking put in 30. And I walked away with fucking 10.
Ah.
That was terrible. My old lady left me after that. I was the one. Old Betty Sue. Never saw her again. It was like the plot for Buffalo 66. I wanted to go back and kill the fucking...
No, man, it's fucking great. Like, it's a rarity that like fucking because you came on the scene and just immediately like everybody was like, this guy's fucking great. It was amazing. But you'd been out here a few times though.
Yeah, I've come out here for like the past like 3 years. Like I come out 2-3 times a year. like meetings and stuff. Just do a couple shows. I got a little spoiled because you could just come out here and just do shows all week, and you're like, oh, it's super easy to get shows out here.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I'm getting shows now, but I'm like, I have a feeling that after this, it's gonna slow down a lot.
Oh yeah, you lose the allure after you've like been here long
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
They're like, oh cool, we can get your audience now.
Exactly.
And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you're old news now.
We used to,
You lose that new guy juice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Now you're just one of us. Welcome
Yeah.
to the suck.
It's like
you're not there
I
yet,
used up
but-
the new comic smell way too early.
It's true.
How long have you been doing it?
This is 5 years now. December was 5 years, yeah.
Damn.
Where did you do it the first time?
Like my first mic?
Yeah. When was your first time on stage telling jokes? Tell us the story, Nick.
Village Lantern in New York, in the East Village. And I was fucking petrified.
Yeah.
Like I even brought like a piece of paper on stage, and like I look back at the jokes, and they're like well written, but like everyone who started comedy that I started with all did like musical theater in school or like
Yeah.
Oh,
all that
yeah,
stuff.
dude.
And I was a fucking wrestler, so I had no stage experience.
Yeah.
So I was literally trembling with the paper in my hand.
Yep.
Yeah. So it took forever. That was the hardest part, was me getting any stage presence at all.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, I had the first time I did it, it was literally like
Oh, go ahead, Mitch. I wasn't going to ask you, but just jump right in.
No, go ahead. What?
Fucking I'm just kidding.
I was going to agree with him because I did the same thing. I had this literally a whole page worth of just like a giant text, and I just like literally read off it, just
Yep,
like
that's what I
trembling
did.
the entire time. Fucking bombed. Oh,
Yeah, they're like, if you only looked at us while you said it, it'd
yeah,
be good.
Exactly.
Did you do all right or no?
Good enough where I was like, all right, I could definitely try this again.
You got, like,
For
a couple
I
laughs
loved
at
it,
least?
even though like just those little laughs that I got, I was like, oh okay. But it was also they were giving me that first time comic laugh, and it gives you that little energy.
Yeah, I wish I knew that before I went up. That you get the brand new comic bump from the fucking audience. Like they're so excited. They go, oh, you go, oh, even if you don't do good, you never just like get this fucking guy out of here. I was so bad.
I'm glad I started with mics though, because there's those comics that start by doing like shows where they invite all their friends, and then they get like this huge ego, like, oh, I crush an hour 3 days in,
Yeah.
and then they go in front of their first row crowd and just fucking eat
No,
shit.
Aunt Connie's gone, and you're not so fucking funny anymore.
Yep.
Right? That was the haha was famous for that. You'd go to open mic on Sunday at like 5 o'clock, and like at least once or twice a year, there's some fucker would just come filing in, and like 20 people would come after you, like, oh, and you start texting me like, get down, there's a whole fucking crowd. I did that once, and then after that, I was like, you know what? No, fuck them. I came down here, so why should I bring fucking comics down here? And I did the fucking hard work and came here at 5 o'clock on a fucking Sunday with a hangover. And I'm not gonna. Why should I let them fucking enjoy my spoils?
I did all of those shows.
Yeah.
And they were fucking miserable.
Yeah.
And they would just bring in like.
Well, I mean, at the mic, it was great because now you got like a good fucking 30 people in the room.
Yeah, that was fine. But
Yeah.
when I did the actual like bringer shows, it
Oh,
was
right.
like literally like a 4-hour marathon. Starts at 8. You don't go on to like 11:50. They bring in all the like celebrity guests, which is like a rotation of like whatever Wayne's brothers in town and like some other has been fucking 80s Mexican comic, and they just like rotate them through the entire
And the
time.
host at that place, they like to roast. They like to bust your balls. Like, this guy coming up right here, he's short, he's real stupid looking. The joke's probably going to suck. I'm like, wow, thanks, fucking great intro. Thanks, buddy.
I know
Haha,
the
it
guests
was
there
really
aren't
like
special because I was a special guest there at one point.
There you go.
And I went up 79th out of 300 comics.
That's
Holy shit, really?
It was like I was for sure like comic number 30.
I actually believe that. What the fuck is wrong with
I was gonna say,
Well, like-
Jesus fucking Christ.
Because like, they would actually
was a
do
long
that.
show.
It'd be like a fucking 48-hour marathon.
dude, they
or
were
something.
like a fucking telethon, dude. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I remember feeling bad for the crowd too because it was like they came out to laugh and just no one was you ever seen a crowd like we want to laugh at you so bad but we
Yeah.
just can't at that. That's
Yeah.
bad, you know?
And that fucking light at the
See,
haha,
the
dude,
one thing that we want Verzi to chime in on. Come on, talk to
Oh,
me.
dude, I was just gonna say, like, I now that I look back at it, I just like I almost feel guilty, where it's like I should have asked you to come like 5 years later.
Yeah.
Like I wasted all because now like they look at you now and they're like, oh, you're still like doing comedy, and they
Yeah.
remember you eating a fucking dick. You know, you're like 5 months in and you just suck, and it's like, well, I promise I'm better, and they're like, we don't believe you. We saw
Yeah.
you like eat shit on stage. So.
Did you start out here?
Yeah, I started at Sal's Comedy Hole, first open mic. Literally
I've
right
been
off the
there
page.
before, yeah.
I love that place.
I don't. It's
It's
actually
a shithole, but I love it.
it's a good breeding ground. I think
It's a cool stage. A big-ass stage. It's a good-sized room.
it's a cool room.
It looked like an old drug lord's fucking living room.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked like the Rat King's lair
Weird
of Ninja
couches
Turtles.
and fucking paintings.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I started it there, and then like whatever, was still in college, and then got out, and then like I did it on my own for a year or two, and then me and my brother started doing it.
The History of My Skin with Mitch Verzi. Sorry.
Why?
Oh God, I had a follow-up question that I wanted to fuck. All right, I remember now. It's weird to me that fucking all these musical theater, you felt that they had an edge when you wrestled. Dude, wrestling is much more fucking terrifying than anything on stage. At least from where I'm sitting, because my cousin's a head wrestling coach. And every fucking year, we used to go to the Pepsi Center because it was like that. It was the big deal. It was state championship. 5, 4, 3, 2A. It was like, holy fuck. I mean, 5 mat. And I remember getting chills, and I was like, fuck this, man. I don't know how anybody could and like the mats were cold because that's where the ice is too.
Yeah, but it's like you're not staring at the crowd in the eyes while you're wrestling people.
It's a different level of torment.
Yeah.
It's like the physical toll is not bad. It's
if
like
I was
all
wrestling,
mental.
If I was wrestling, it was just me. Then yeah, then that would be similar.
Everybody cheering for you.
What does the mats being cold have to do with anything? Does it fuck you up?
What?
He said the mats are cold. What is that? Does that have something to do with it?
Because the Avalanche used to play hockey there. So what they would do is you would have the ice there, and then they would have that rubber thing, and then they would put the mats down.
So it's just like uncomfortable.
A cold mat's gonna feel harder too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a fair. I didn't know if they made your foot fucking more slippery. I've never done anything that
There's
manly.
nothing like it.
I got way too technical on that. What's the molecular density of the maps before and after they're cold? Like, can we get a spectrometer in there? Fucking Jesus Christ, Luke.
Hart and Glaven and
Yeah.
comedy.
But like
My
they've all
fucking
been
cue
like
from James
they've
Bond?
been singing and dancing on stage all these years, and me, I've never been in front of a crowd of people like that. Like to this day, like I've done comedy in front of big crowds, but the idea of even like singing in front of a crowd for karaoke would never, couldn't even. That's I couldn't even do it. That scares me more than anything.
Do you ever wish you like? Because there's a part of me that wishes I instead of like doing football and like sports or whatever, like doing football and then also doing like a little bit of theater or improv or anything like that, just to like get you accustomed to it.
100%. Because
Yeah.
I played football and our school was 0-9 every year.
Dude,
and I had
same
so
here.
many concussions. I'm retarded from it for no reason. And I'm like, if I would have just danced and sang instead of fucking getting brain damage, I'd be way better at this right now. You know what I mean?
It's like all the kids you make fun of, and then you're like, maybe that was the right idea.
Yeah, he was
actually.
dancing on the right path.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
What was your record as a wrestler?
My best season was 33-1.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
What weight were you?
171.
Okay. What are you
Yeah.
right now?
210.
Jesus Christ.
Me too.
Fucking meatball.
I was 96 pounds though when I first year high school was 96.
96 pounds.
Yeah,
You got
Holy
pictures of that?
I do. Yeah.
Can I have a wallet?
And I was also like a skater kid too, so I had like zoomies and like ball chain necklace and hot topic
Do you have the
clothes.
hair that covered your eyes too?
No, I did
out of the way?
the spike hair spikes.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
Which just turned into the Guido blowout as time went on. It was an easy transition, just a fade.
Dude, that's a hard fucking weight to be good at too.
You gained 85
Those
pounds.
guys are fucking. Oof.
Or 70.
You know what though? Those fucking like the 96. Those kids are fun to watch fucking wrestle too.
You got to be fast.
Yeah, dude, they're
yeah.
quick as they're like little fucking jackrabbits.
That's
dude.
why it was easy for me because once I bumped up to 71, because I was already like, I saw that speed, I was
Yeah.
just fucking so too fast for everybody.
It's like trying to catch a chicken. you
Yeah,
know?
it was like going in slow motion compared to what I was used to. You know what I mean?
That was the only reason I didn't want to do wrestling is because I would have had to go from like football and then cut like because I'm like 160 for football and then I would have had to cut like 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
That's what I
Fuck
used to
that.
do because I'd bulk all the way up to 205 for football season, then have to cut from 205 down to 171. And it was the same coach for both of them. And during football season, he'd be like, you got to fucking gain weight, eat salt. You're not gaining weight fast enough. You're a linebacker. And then minute wrestling season started, you fat piece of shit.
Yeah,
and I'm
exactly.
just like, how are you not at weight? And I'm like, you made me, you know? He was a good coach.
Nicholson and Batman. You made me remember.
He was a good coach, but I don't know. You know about wrestling, how one wrist. So the ref has one wrist is green, one wrist is red to signal who gets the points. And he was colorblind with red and green. And
my
so many
God.
times I'd be beating the shit out of kid. He's like, "What are you doing? You're losing." And I'm like, "No, I'm winning." Like I'd stop wrestling and be like, "I'm winning." He'd be like, "Keep going."
It's like an MK Ultra experiment for Christ's sake. The fucking level of psychological torture. Jesus.
It was brutal.
They end up
Yeah.
like the fucking Unabomber.
You know what's funny? That's what made him so good, though, is even when he was good, he was like, "You're a piece of shit, Simmons. Look at you, you fucking loser." And then he won. Your coach is laying in bed that night. God, I gotta ease up on this. Or I gotta get those glasses that fucking show me the right colors.
We had a good team. We had a national champ too, our heavyweight. He was
Jesus Christ.
he was a gay black Jamaican, and we went to nationals together. And boy, was that fun when we wrestled the Southern teams. And first, they were not happy about him losing to a black kid, but when he went after the match, he's like, "That was amazing." They were like, "I'm gonna go kill myself. I'm hanging myself out of this."
Their dad was waiting outside with a fucking baseball bat just to hit him. Don't come home tonight. Sleeping out in the yard.
There was when we went against the Alabama wrestlers. I beat my guy. He beat his guy. And afterwards, because their parents were just being shitty to us, and I was like, "Yo, gay it the fuck up." When we talked to these guys afterwards, and they were mortified, mortified that they lost. It was great.
You guys' number?
Why is he calling me and to be the tonight? Who is this chubby little man? He want me to come over and cuddle with him.
Me wrestling for 10 seconds and he out of breath. He carry a bunch of drinks and he fall over a crack.
Oh, that was the funniest fall I've ever seen. It was comical. Just because
I missed
I was asking him while we were walking over, I was like, because he got the vaccine, I was like, "Oh, how was the vaccine?" And as he said that, he just slowly collapsed into all the drinks and drinks started going away. I'm like, "Okay, I guess the vaccine wasn't good, was it?"
I want to point out he didn't offer a hand or he just kind of put his hands in his pocket.
I laughed.
And waited for me to fall. He waited for the fall finish, and the first thing he said, he goes, "Did you crush the beer?"
Well, did you ever watch someone fall in slow motion? You're like, "This is happening so slow, I can't do anything about it."
Yeah.
That's it. He fell for like 20 minutes.
Well, no, I didn't. I fell, but then I rolled.
Like,
My
the part
feet-
like in Inception when they're in between the dreams, they're just like bottles just floating in the air.
You gotta admit, though, that was a vicious fucking sidewalk crack.
That was, yeah.
I know almost exactly which one you're talking about. It's like right by the tree.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that one's brutal. I've tripped on that before.
Good. I'm gonna cut that fucking tree down. Watch. I'm a shitty person. I'll do it.
Do it. I don't care.
I'll fucking
Fuck
that
the
tree will
trees.
fall on a goddamn van and kill like kids, and I'll be like, "Yeah, but I got that fucking tree though."
He won't trip.
Oh, good God. No, but dude, it's fucking awesome. Like that was where we connected, and then so yeah, you were fucking hilarious. Then you were a wrestler, so you fucking double respect there. And then Brandon Barrera fucking got me like 2 steps back.
Oh, that was funny.
Oh, I was so fucking pissed.
Yeah. That was perfect,
Fucking,
too.
I felt so. I still feel so fucking shitty for that.
You want to tell him what happened?
So I'll let you because
Assuming Brandon's
they
a
know
comic,
from
right?
my.
What's that?
Is Brandon a comic?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So I'll tell you.
Yeah,
tell
well-
better. Yeah.
So we're talking to Simmons, and like I said, this guy comes in, and he just totally cool, good stage presence, all that shit. And we're like, yeah, let's get to know this guy. So we're talking, and I don't know what the fuck he said, but Brandon was talking, and then he starts going on. He's like, "Oh, it's like that one guy from New York that you didn't like. Remember, Eric?"
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever, And I'd forgot about it. And he was like,
Oh, Brendan was like, "You remember that one time that New York comic came here, and like you gave him all. You said he sucked, and he's doing all A material, and this guy's an asshole." And I'm like, "Oh, who was it?" And you're like, "I don't know."
well, yeah, and in my head, I'm like, I don't even fucking. Why are you bringing this up, you fuck? And then I cornered him later, and I was like, "Hey, dude, when you meet a new comic, don't start off by shitting on other comics."
Yeah, because it turned out to be like a good friend.
Yeah, and I was like, and so he's like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't remember who it was."
I was like, "What does he look like?"
And then he was like, he describes him perfectly.
It was
like,
the easiest game of Clue ever. Because he has like a lazy eye, so I was like,
I think I know who you're
yeah.
talking about too.
Well, and the thing of it was he's fucking he names him perfect like he's goddamn a sketch art. Like they would have found him in an hour. How fucking the sharpest goddamn memory because Barrera hasn't fucked up enough and drank and coked himself out like I have. Like it's
He's
like
getting there though. He's working on it.
well, and I'm like, oh, don't fucking like whatever. And then Simmons is like, he's like, no, well, he's like. Did he look like this? And Barrera's like, yeah. And then he's like, was his name this? And he's like, oh my God, that was his name. And fucking Simmons just goes, yeah, that's actually a really good friend of mine. And I remember I was just standing there like, and I looked at Nick, I was like, yeah, he did better, and I was probably pissed about it that night. And then I looked at it, and I was like, I'm a piece, and then I was like yelling at Simmons, like, I'm a piece of shit, what do you want? Like, and then I was ready to fucking see how far I could kick Brandon. Like, I was so fucking annoyed. Like, I didn't talk to him for like a week, which for fourth wall is a long fucking time, because you see everybody 3 times, like, and I was like, oh my God. And I remember I apologized to you like 4 fucking times, and I'll apologize again. I was like, look, dude, he probably did better, and I was just in a shitty mood. And I was like, I don't know why the fuck somebody would bring that up. And I was like, I didn't even not like the guy that much. It was just a fucking thing. And fucking then Barrera is like, yeah, you know, right after that came out of my mouth, I was like, I probably shouldn't have said that. And I was like, yeah, next time, follow that instinct. Oh, I was pissed, dude. And I was like,
I saw it in your face, like you were trying to like dance away from it. I'm like, no.
But I feel like that's how anybody is. Like anytime, if you see a comic that's like running their set, I think is your immediate instinct is like, what an open mic. Like, what the fuck you doing your A shit? Like, regardless of who it is.
Well, that happens at both coasts too, because like
exactly,
it's same thing with East Coast. Like if I was on a show and like a comic from like here, like there's plenty of times where that happened where I'd be like, you know, I'm not going to talk shit about this guy because my friends probably know him, even though he sang on stage for some reason.
Well, if they're singing on stage, that's a little different. But it's like if you're going to a new town too, you like you have to kind of like showcase your best stuff because like you know you want to get booked on.
He was funny without showcasing it. Like it was. I'm telling you, it was a bad night.
Rocha was saying they're funny without showcasing it, but yeah, no, dude, I feel that way. What do you think the biggest difference is between like New York and LA? Have you noticed?
Just the amount of reps we get in compared to you guys.
Oh
my God,
yeah,
dude,
a lot more
one
reps.
fucking day last summer, and it was.
And you guys do a lot more mics like than we do, because we have like you could do 7 shows in a day easy in New York, and here it's like there are very few. You got to drive over here, you got to drive over there.
Can I tell you the faggiest thing?
What?
You know, in my fall,
Yeah.
I broke a nail.
Let me see.
Stupid.
I'll say though too,
Sorry, Nick.
like because I've been doing a lot more mics now that I'm here, and it's I hear a lot more music at musical comedy. A lot more people singing.
LA?
Yeah, I've heard a lot more songs, for no reason. And
Well,
I'm
one
like,
of the reasons is they have a vagina, probably, because all of them.
I
like
wasn't
to
gonna say
sing.
anything.
All of them like to sing. I'll say it. Once in a while, they're funny. If anyone's got a guitar, it's
Literal
Sheila.
Luke.
Yeah. Well, let's just call a spade. Unless she is Mexican, then I just canceled myself. Call her a spade. Or black. They call black. Black
Yeah,
is a spade. Sorry.
call Mexican spade for me.
Yeah. I messed up my racial epithet. Sorry.
Yeah.
Your Alzheimer's is fucking racist.
Dude, what I will say though, and I kind of say this about LA because I've been here, I'm born and raised out here. I think LA is like half people that were born and raised here, and the other half are people that have annoyed the fuck out of everybody in their hometown across the nation.
Oh yeah.
And they come to LA and they're deemed, instead of being really fucking annoying, they're deemed as like creative and free spirited, and that's how they get away with shit.
And they drive like that too.
Yeah,
Fucking
exactly.
worst drivers ever. I bet you would think that I was the one who's been driving my whole life, and they were the one who took the train for the past 20 years.
Dude, I
But
the
it's
worst-
skittish. Yeah.
The worst driving I've ever seen.
I'm a terrible driver.
But no, I agree.
You're not a bad driver.
He's a terrible guy.
no.
He's just in a car. So he's a terrible driver.
No, I I miss the train. Like I miss zoning out and just reading a book or fucking.
Oh yeah.
Literally just listening to a podcast on the fucking subway. I miss that so much.
How can you listen to one? Don't you? Isn't there no Wi-Fi down there? Or do you like download?
You have to download it first.
Yeah, you just download it.
Sorry, Greg.
That's why I listen to iPod. That was iPod back when I was there.
I didn't like to fucking zone out on the train. There's too my train, because I'm from the Bronx, so like the trains is way more sketchy. You know, you can't be just
that.
like
Got naked crackheads.
yeah, because it's like we have homeless in New York, but it's different for sure.
Yeah,
like it's more in your face, like literally there because you're on the train with them. Like here, you're just driving by, seeing how sad it looks, but like. You're like, oh, that's a shame, you know.
No,
but like,
sorry, laughing at how sad it looks.
I did
Come
see
on,
the
Simmons.
funniest
You're not
thing
that nice.
I saw. I don't know if I told you. I saw this guy get off the bus in front of a bunch of homeless people, and they looked at him like he was a piece of shit for taking the fucking bus out of here. Yeah. Like, dude, what a loser.
There's some people that will like. There's some rich people that take the bus just to kind of like feel like they're experiencing, you know, the urban, you know, experience. Like, dude, you're just trying to be, you're a dick.
They fetishize it. That's
exactly, 100%, dude. People out here fetishize being fucking poor and like the LA like artistic struggle. It's like, dude, just get a job. Like, you know, you don't have to do fucking open mics every night.
I'll be honest, dude. I was much more afraid of shit out here than I was in New York.
Really?
Oh fuck yeah,
really?
dude. I worked nights for. You know, I worked 6 nights the overnight shift and just taking the subway. Fucking, it was amazing. Like nobody fucked with me. I never felt in danger. But I realized too, like my look, like I looked like a fucking busboy or literally, I didn't look like threatening. I tended to blend in whatever it was. But here, like they're real Mexican and they're like. When you see Mexicans in New York, you're like, oh my god, another Mexican! Like this is so cool.
Very few and far
between.
between.
A lot of them. Yeah,
it's a novelty. Yeah.
But. Out here, it's like, hey, what's with the nice fucking shirt? And you're like, it's a Dickie shirt. What are you talking about, you fucking piece of shit?
Why is this guy dolled up? Is he going to a wedding?
I know wedding. How come I wasn't invited? We're all related. But never had fucking... There was only like a few times on the subway where it was like... And this is what was so funny. Like, you'd see fucked up shit on the subway in Hollywood... And people were like, "Oh my god, oh my god," and I'm like, "That's nothing." Like, fuck you. Like, I've seen them cook rats on.
That's a warm-up act.
Exactly. Yeah, but
I watched the guy get stabbed to death on the train.
Oh god,
it was and it was crazy too because it was the subway car right after mine, and I was about to get on the same subway car with him. He was just him inside, but there was a pigeon in there with him, and he was literally like throwing punches in the air trying to take the pigeon out. And I look at him like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the next car. And later on, like it's on our way to work, I was on my way to work in the morning, and I just see and then the guy like very. I hate to say it, but he did get stabbed very dramatic, the way the guy acted. Like he's like, oh, no. He slowly fell out of the train. And I don't know if he died or not, but I get, like, this is how shitty my train is. When I got to work and I told them what happened, they're like, you know what train you take. You got to leave earlier. Because I was late to work that day. And they're like, that's unacceptable. You take the 6 train. You got to leave earlier. That could happen on your train. I was like, wow.
That's why New Yorkers have a fucking work ethic. People out here are just... It's something working with people that were born and raised in L.A., isn't it? Different breed out here. Yeah.
It's definitely more chill, though, for sure, which I do like.
It's too chill. That's the fucking problem. Nobody does anything, and you can't rely on anyone to do anything or get anything fucking done because who cares? No one's going to get trouble.
I don't agree because out here, everyone's better with internet stuff. Even if it's not the stand-up, like their podcasting, their videos. Like I've done more sketches here in the couple months I've been here than ever in New York because you'll just like you'll be talking and be like, oh, do you want to do a sketch? And you'll just talk about it for 3 years and never get it fucking done. Here, there's like a sketch. Like I'm doing a sketch every fucking day. Like I don't even like. We did one, and I'm like, I don't know when that's coming out. And then I did this one the other day. I don't know when that's coming out. And it's like I actually have fucking shit to post on my Instagram for once besides shitty memes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you fucking hit the ground running with it.
That is weird because I feel, I don't know, I've been here my whole life, so I feel like kind of the opposite. Like you can, it's a good difference. Like you can tell the people that are actually going to do the work. Like Rocha here is definitely going to like do the shit. Unless this podcast, he'll wait 6 months and then post it again. But like for the most part, like you could tell real quick, like the bottom feeders are the ones like, yeah, dude, I'd love to collab with you and like do some shit, and then you never hear from them again.
For sure.
But the people that are actually here to work will fucking work.
Yeah, the thing with New York is everyone loves stand-up to the point where they don't give a fuck about anything else. So, like, you'll tell people, oh, I have this great idea, and they're like, that's cool. I have 7 shows tonight. I don't got time for that shit. You know what I mean? Out here, people have time. You know, you have time to actually do shit, so you can be creative. So I think they're more creative in that sense out here.
What's your favorite club? Not this cellar, obviously.
New York Comedy Club, 1,000%. It's my favorite club I've ever been. I mean, it was my home club, so I'm kind of biased, but it's like the perfect. I guess it's what you guys have is the Ice House, where it's like a kill box. Like when you're killing in that room, like the laughs sound like fucking lightning, like because it's such a small boxed in area and the echo's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're on lineups with just beasts of comics. Like I'd have to like. For the past couple of years, like starting off, I already had to start following guys like Mark Normand and Andrew Schultz and Joe List and those guys. So you just become a fucking savage working there. You have to, because if you're gonna follow, you're gonna bomb a long time before you get a laugh after one of those guys.
Yeah.
So it kind of teaches you how to reset a room, and then that place taught me everything I needed to know for the most part.
Yeah. It's weird out here because like you come from that where it's like I feel like everything in New York is like the jokes like so fast. You just got to hit them hard.
Last for a minute, yeah.
LA is just like, all right, we're set. It's like almost like you say, where it's like very chill, and then you can go into it. You know,
Yeah.
it's
There'll
like
the LA style. What I've noticed is more of a long.
Yeah.
It's not a setup, but it's like it's instead of setup punch, setup punch, setup punch, then big punch. It's just long story and then really big punch at the end, which could be great because you really draw people in at the same time. So that big punch is going to hit harder. But if that big punch doesn't hit, you just told the story.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
This guy's pretty good at it.
He's very good at it.
Rocha guy's pretty good.
Punch your finger, you piece of shit. No, what's wrong?
Oh, we were complimenting you.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just thinking like my knee hurt. That I'm like, oh, fuck. I insulted his best friend and then I fell in front of him. I hope I didn't fag out like, oh! Did I make any weird noise? You can be honest.
you went oof.
No, that was the seltzer water.
Oh, I thought that was you hissing.
It's fucking anti-crushed.
And uncles.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
I went to New York.
Those quirky LA comics right there, huh? Yeah.
No, it's funny though. 'Cause I envy that style so much. Like I love like Luke, you do it too. I love the comics that come out and they say, okay, set up, punch, set up, punch. I'll sit there and I'm like, fuck, I wish I could do that. I cannot fucking do that.
Just come
I'm
guns
like,
blazing. Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. Like it's fun. That's the one thing that I love. And we said that on one of the episodes. Make a little more fucking noise.
You're in our
God, this
apartment. You're
studio is
welcome.
terrible.
You're welcome.
For what?
Just waiting for the other shoe to
I'll
drop.
say this though, I think that you need to be good at both because when you're doing a short showcase set, it pays to be short punch. But whenever I do like a long set, I change my act is so different because I'm not trying to because people get tired the fuck out of just set up punch, set up punch, set up punch. So if you're not doing some stories where you're like at least getting their attention, then you're gonna lose them for sure, or they're just gonna burn out.
That's how I am with as much as I love Normand. 30 minutes of him is perfect. An hour, it's really starts to drag because it's just nonstop. That punch.
He's like a Jerry Seinfeld where he's just a fucking joke
it's like
machine.
throw a story or have something. And it's all good stuff, but I don't. Maybe it's just me. But after like around 30, I'm just like starting to feel.
Well, you
it.
kind of want to get to know the person, like
Yeah,
as opposed to
yeah.
just like, here's the show. This is only the show. It's like,
Exactly.
you want to get to know them a little bit more.
I will say this though too, and I don't mean to make this a stroke fest, but I've seen you fucking going out of your comfort box with that too, because I've seen you're like, this is my favorite thing. You'll put down your phone, and like it's almost like you're getting ready, like, okay, I'm gonna tell you guys a story.
Yeah,
and it's fucking. I made you sound like Prince. You guys want to hear the story? No, but and it's fucking awesome because I know. But that's what I like. I respect about comics that I like you too. Is you'll do the same thing. Sometimes you'll leave your notes on the fucking chair and you're like, fucking, I'm gonna go for it. Okay, here we go. And then, but like with you too, you're like, I'm gonna tell you guys a story. And it's fun. Like I see you trying to find like, okay, I'm gonna make this level peak, and then you know what I mean. It's
Well, that's what
kind
I'm trying
of
to do
like
with
the
the
cat
mic
and
because
mouse shit.
I'm literally just telling the story, and in my head while I'm doing it, I'm like, where could I add a punchline? Where could I add a punchline?
That's what the fourth wall is perfect for, where
For
you're
sure.
just like, it's almost like your own like fucking isolation tank, where you're like, okay, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
like you figure it out.
It's good too because it's a lot of the same faces, which most people would hate, but it's forced me to write so much fucking more because you could like if it's just a show, you could work on the same 5 minutes for fucking 3 years, and you'll see those comics that have done the same 20 that's worked the whole time, and it's just like they're still doing Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon references. You know what I mean? That was very specific. That actually is true. But
I think I know exactly who you're talking about. I almost mentioned his name.
so
Rhymes with that man.
no,
Oh.
but I know who you're talking about. So it's definitely helpful to actually have like the same faces because you're like, I'm not going to tell you guys the same fucking joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely, that place has been great for that.
But it's cool though, like I said, to see, and I think that's what really like garners the most respect is when you watch a comic just fucking like, okay, Nick's going for it. And it's cool to see. Like, I think with comics you want them to succeed, especially like when you like their shit. It's just like, oh fuck yeah, like
For sure.
You know, Nick's gonna give you about 7 to 10 jokes that are like set up punch, and they're all good. And you're like, oh fuck, that's got legs. And then he's like, all right, I'm gonna tell you a story. And like the same thing with you, Looster, is you're like when you put your fucking notes away and you're just like, oh,
Don't
okay.
rely on my notes that much. I bring them up there and
Only,
once.
only when he opens for headliners does
you-
he rely on them.
You
That's the
haven't
only
done
time.
it in a
brought
long
notes
time. You haven't done it in
On
long
a show?
I always take notes. I almost never look at them. I have them there just in case I have a complete fucking brain meltdown.
I do that for if I do an hour. I keep my phone with all the topics. Just
I
in
write
case.
it on a little piece of paper and I just
No
put it on
way.
the stool, and you can't even see me look at it. I'll lean on the mic and I'll look over and I just see a giant fucking. That's all. I'm like, so let me move on to my next joke.
Wait,
So
how long of a set you doing where you need notes?
I'm just
10,
giving I'm
10,
giving him
20
shit for
minutes.
one
But
incident.
even
in
when I do
particular.
open mics, I'll bring them up just in case.
Yeah.
But half the time I almost never even fucking look at it. It's almost like a little fucking safety blanket.
Yeah.
But I'm not tethered to it. It's just there.
No,
just in
you're
case.
not. And honestly, I haven't seen you bring up a note in like a good year.
I bring them up. That's how good I am. I bring them up every time. I
Really?
always have them. Yeah. I just
Oh,
don't
I
look.
haven't
I
seen
never
you
look
do
at
it.
them. I don't.
But then again,
it's
it's
an emergency.
2020.
shoot.
Nobody.
I bring my notes up every time because I know there's nothing worse than that feeling than you get off and you're like, that's the fucking joke I forgot to do. You know what I mean?
See,
And I
'Cause
always
we
do that.
care. That's why we do. We're prepared, and I'm not scrolling through my phone. I write it down.
I put bullet points.
Yeah,
That's the way to do
me
it.
too. I have them. Well, I'll show Alex. Bring me my notes, please. Alex, Rosie, thank you very much.
Dude, the worst part, so we do whatever, me and my brothers do it together, and there's times where I'll bring up the notes, so I know the shit, and then
That's it.
I'll look at it, and then I'll look at it, and I'll be like, oh, fuck, I completely forgot. So we'll
Yeah.
just be there like, yeah, I forgot what we were going to fucking talk about.
So you guys go up together at the
Yeah, we
same
go
time?
together.
Well, that's good too, just because if you forget something, hopefully he remembers it. You know what I mean?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But if all three of us collectively forget, then
Yeah.
it looks really fucking
The
bad.
audience
Yeah.
hopes I just leave altogether.
That's the worst part. If all three of us are doing it, and it's like, or it's even worse when you do remember it, but one of them doesn't remember it, because it's usually like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
But if someone misses it in the middle, it's like, oh, fuck.
I had a notorious incident at the Ice House where the original booker was there, and like when we were originally doing it, it was like you say a line, you say a line, then I say a line. Like it was like very scripted.
We were still figuring out the setup.
triplet dynamic, right? So
Rocha's getting a beer. I'm filling it.
yeah. So we were doing it in front of the Ice House booker, and like I just like started going into the next bit.
Edelstein.
No, different one. Different.
No, the real Ice House Booker.
Rip. Yep. I started going into the bit, and then I was like in my head halfway through. I'm like, oh fuck, that's not my thing to say.
Oh, shit.
So I'm just like, I forgot the joke.
On stage in front of the Booker.
Oh, you said it out loud?
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
said
no,
it
he
out
said
loud.
it verbally
I said
aloud.
it fucking out loud. It was awful.
He was
Right in
like
the main room.
stumbling, like, oh, I almost got it, and it was like, all right, I'm not jumping in to help
Because they
And
were
then
looking at me like, oh, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. And then I'm like,
he just
I forgot the
stops.
joke.
He just stops. and goes, I forgot the joke.
Oh,
That's brutal.
and then the Ice House Booker came up to us afterward. He's like, what are your guys' writing processes like? I'm like, we don't really have one, clearly.
I mean, what's good about 3 of you forgetting a joke is that could be funny in itself.
To laugh at,
Yes.
which is not what we're
Yeah.
going for.
You would think it is.
I mean,
But
it's
that
more,
right there could bring you back.
or it makes it more cringeworthy because if one person fucks up, you're like, you know what? I feel bad for that guy. Like maybe he's had a bad night. If 3 people collectively fuck up, you're like, these people coordinated and then still fucked up.
Yeah.
And they still bomb.
One
It's
guy
so much
bombing is
worse.
bad, but 3 guys collectively together agreeing on material and then bombing is so much. It's like a mastermind tank from fucking Clubhouse that just bombs horribly.
3
Damn.
male adults all collectively agreeing,
Quote,
let's
unquote.
do comedy, and then bombing. So.
The size of children, but they're adults.
Also, by the way, you know how the first time I heard about you was Rocha being like, "Yeah, this is cool. There's this funny guy named Nick Simmons. He just came from New York. He looks like he looks like a bigger version of you guys." I'm like, "All right, I want to see this guy." And
And
then
he does look like a bigger
Yeah, he
version
does.
of us.
I do look like
Tanner.
I would do look like the older brother.
yeah, you do. You definitely do.
They
You're
have
cool-
an older brother
you're-
and he hates them.
Yeah,
All the other hates us. Yeah, he's not
It's
a
the
big fan.
fucking most like insane family I've ever. Like really, you get 2 beers in him, and he motherfucks his brothers. Like, he made me uncomfortable. I was like, I'm gonna go now. Jesus Christ!
There's not a lot
I should
of.
sleep with one eye open. Fucking us.
We don't really voice love or affection in our family. It's
Are you
not
Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We trash
Yeah,
each
gotcha.
other.
Yeah.
Quarter, but
That is our way of love, is just trashing each other.
yeah.
What's the other mix?
German, Italian, Hungarian, and English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of
A lot of
dirty, greasy fucking people. But
A lot of highs and lows.
Are you all Italian?
No. I'm Italian, Greek, and Irish.
Gotcha. Okay.
God
Mostly
damn, I
Italian.
see the Greek now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The beard.
I got the schnoz. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it
you
could
do
be
have the schnoz.
It could be any ethnic
No,
schnoz.
Well,
it's
now the Greek schnoz I feel like is wider, like the more bulbous. What you got? I
Yeah,
feel like
the-
the Italian is more of a
little
Jew
bone.
nose.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think it's demeanor. Because Greeks are very
Actually, that's
welcoming.
true.
Like it's funny. They're not like pleasant people, but they're more like, sit down, eat. You gotta eat. Come on, sit down, eat.
It depends on you tip at the diner or not.
Yeah, exactly. That's.
But you're not as like overly animated.
Wait. I got it for the. Do you remember that Otto and George joke when he said he goes, "You want to have some fun?" He goes, go into a Greek diner and yell, "Hey Gus," and count how many motherfuckers turn around.
That is the most underrated ventriloquist act ever.
I think he's one of my favorite. When I think New York comics or East Coast, I should say, East Coast comics.
For your puppet to get stabbed in a park, like you gotta,
Oh fuck yeah! Well, and two, do you remember the fucking great bit that he would do where he would do that Kennedy joke,
I don't remember.
he would flick his hair. Like, he would flick the puppet, and the hair would come up, and he had it painted like there were braids. And then Otto would go, "Find my blasted out skull. It's the one with the chestnut-colored hair." Otto and George, you guys, listeners, you will not be disappointed
R.I.P.,
at
yeah.
all. Fuck, he was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I say he almost was like a parody of like what ventriloquism was, right? He was just like trashing it pretty much, but
It was a dirty ventriloquist act. Yeah.
it was great.
I always loved hearing stories about that Jimmy would tell, especially when he passed. It was so fucking sad, dude. Like
Yeah.
that was some of the hardest shit. Was like on Opie and Anthony, because that I think was the other reason too that
Because we're both open at the listeners.
that we
Yeah.
loved was like
I think his whole table.
exactly it was one of those guys. You're gonna like him. He's one of us. But from Patrice to Otto, when the Jim Norton was telling that story on Opie and Anthony when they were gonna fuck those 2 girls and they went to their apartment, and she'd been telling the story. It was really sad about how her grandpa like killed himself, like he jumped out a window. And so they go into the apartment, they're looking at the fridge, and there's a picture of her and this old man, and he's like, "Oh, is this you and your grandpa? The one that tossed himself out a window?" And Jimmy's just laughing. Jesus Christ. No, but one thing I've noticed too is you flip shit better than most too. Like that's I had to find like a group of people in California that were willing to do that, like to just sit around and give each other shit.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm used to that. That's everyone does it. Like,
Dude, there's not enough of that out here.
No.
Everybody's like too sensitive. Like it's just like friends. I don't want to like insult anybody. Dude, I love the ball busting.
Well, one night
There's a lot of friendliness, and
It's too much.
at first I was like, "What the fuck?" You know, like. And then I was like, oh, maybe it's because they just met me. And I'm like, it's been months and they're still being like this. I'm like, what the fuck?
He's a fan.
Yeah. And then like I'll shit on someone and they'll be like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry.
It's weird. It's like people that do stand up, but they have an improv mentality. And I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with improv, but like
There's
improv
a lot
like,
wrong with it.
improv like very supportive. Like, yes,
Yeah.
great, this is funny. But it's like, is it actually funny? Like, I don't know.
You know, one of my favorite things, I'll drive by the Olympic Improv, or I'll drive by like some improv spot that's closed. And I won't do it so much anymore, but what I would do is I would take a picture of it and I would send it to Luke. And like he's got multiple pictures of the same improv club that was shut down. And he'll just be like, oh, God, that makes me so hard.
The only time I've ever laughed at improv was I went to a club here, West Side Comedy. And before the show I was on, there was an improv show. And this group of people just was the hardest bomb I've ever watched. And watching 6 people bomb and sweat profusely.
Yeah.
I was the only person hysterically laughing in the back because I was like, this is fucking amazing. And they're just dying a slow death. And I'm like, I love this so
It's a
much.
small place too.
I'm like, improv is pretty great.
That's exactly
He's a
what
season ticket holder now.
that's exactly what it's like with me and my brothers. Bomb.
Yeah?
Just
Well,
slow,
I would be dying laughing.
painful. Oh yeah, it's hilarious to
do.
laugh at.
Mm-hmm.
But oh boy, is it a just terrible death on stage.
I love a good laugh at your friends after they bomb. It's
That-
so great.
He's notorious for this shit. Everybody gives
No,
words of shit.
it's not notorious. It's just I don't know if I don't know.
No one takes it well, but it's fun afterwards.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious and it's funny. Like I don't give a fuck what anybody said. Like
No.
I started doing stand up again the other night and it was fun because it was like this chick went up. She shouldn't have been doing it, and she was doing a joke, and you could see she was gonna double down on it. And I was like, "That's right, honey, you double down on that shit joke, and I can't fucking wait." And she punchline,
Chirp, chirp.
and you heard the fucking.
I love that sigh.
I just
Yeah.
went,
I love that.
oh God! But it's so funny too because the only thing I've noticed is I will fucking I can't help it. It's so unbearable that I fucking I start laughing and I notice something. Other people start laughing too.
Yeah, I've seen.
So it's not just me, but like I said, it makes
You
me
opened it
laugh.
up. Yeah.
And it's just like, guys, it's okay. Like we're all gonna get there at one point. Trust me. Like
2 of my favorite reactions to that is the guy who thinks that he's killing with you. He's like, this guy gets it.
Oh yeah.
And he's just, I'm just gonna talk to you, you know.
So a lot of black comics, essentially.
And then the other one who's doing stand-up comedy and getting angry that someone in the crowd is laughing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I never thought
You
about
ever
it
watch
that
someone get mad that someone's laughing at them doing stand-up?
yeah.
And you're just like, oh, this is fucking great. I saw a guy one time. He was doing a set and he was bombing, and this guy just laughed and he goes, "What the fuck are you laughing at?" As if he's not doing comedy. Like, just let me die.
Well, I remember one night I don't remember where we were doing a set, but Fonto was there, and we were just standing in a circle, and it was the circle of death.
Oh, that was the Fourth Wall parking lot?
Yeah, and we were just, flinging at each other. Boom, 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 boom. And pretty soon the circle just got smaller and smaller and smaller. And
Mike Sasson took a fake phone call. It's 1 a.m. Who's calling?
It's his manager.
well, and then what was so funny though was you saw the comics like just start to slowly fade away, and then it ended up being the 3 of us.
Yep.
And I was like, "Well,
And I'll
anybody
give it.
hungry?"
Ahmed stood there and took it.
He was, yeah, you're right.
He went into his
did.
notes at one point, and I'm like, what do you think's gonna be in there? Yeah.
And then I think Mitchell Lamar was there, and he went into his van.
Yeah.
Like rolled up the window. Hey, a comeback doesn't mean you get to drive away and come back. Where? Come back here. But I mean, and that was one thing that like fucking, it made me so happy because maybe that is an East Coast mentality.
Oh, it for sure is.
One of my favorite places that would happen. There's a club in New York called LOL, and it's such a trash club. And I'll say it on the air. I don't care. Because they try and get people to come in. They're in Times Square, and the ticket sellers give. They'll be like, I'll pitch you. This is how they do it. They'll be like, who's your favorite comedian? And you answer, who's your favorite?
Dave Chappelle.
That's crazy. Dave Chappelle's going to be there tonight. He's in there right now.
Yeah.
And they'll pack the rooms out. There's like 300 people in the room, and there's 7 shows of that throughout the night. And it's just hard because they're waiting for Dave Chappelle and John Mulaney, Tina Fey, who's never done stand up before.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you have to work through it, but it makes you better. But sometimes no. The end of the night, it's like very hood because it's like you get a mixture of the Bronx and Harlem crowds, like the super late shows. And the green room there has like a thin wall between the room, and so they could hear what's going on. And when there's silence in the room, you just see all the comics start piling into the back to just watch you die. I remember there was one where I was bombing. So like, you ever get that bomb sweat where you feel that bead of sweat going down your back? I felt it, and I just see all the comics piling in the room, and I'm like, no. And there was not a peep of laughter, and then I had one punchline, and I heard laughter. I'm like, I got him, and I look, I'm like, nope, it's the comics. And then I had to drive them home afterwards, and it was just a 25 minutes of just quietness, and my friend goes, man, it's like the crowd during your set.
Hey, you know he hit that at the right. Oh,
I made him get out of the car. I'm like, get the fuck out.
See, that's it.
Are you New York sounds fucking awesome, man.
What's that?
New York sounds fucking awesome to do stand-up.
It's great.
I went for one fucking day, and I was like, I'm moving here. I did one day at Mike's. And
you better fucking love it if you want to do a winter in New York for stand-up. Because walking from spot to spot when it's fucking 2 degrees out,
I did that in
and
college
the wind
for
is
4 fucking years.
Yeah, well,
terrible.
when the wind is fucking
Buffalo.
Yeah. It's just like when the wind fucks you up, your hair's all over the place. You're wearing
wind
fucking
tunnel.
you just get the shit beat out of you, and then you go in a club and bomb. You're just like, what the fuck? You have to really love it to eat your dick all those times in one night for nothing. You know what I mean? You're not getting paid.
Even the fucking mics were like, it was night and day from the mics that were like, they were packed and everyone was fucking prepared. There was no time wasted. Everyone had jokes. No one got up and was like, oh, I'm stoned. I forgot my stuff. There was no like wacky characters, balloon animals on their fucking heads. I was like, but the open mics were like fucking, they were actually fun and funny. I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is a fucking different planet.
You get real killers at some of the mics there.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was awesome.
Dude,
and everyone was like really friendly and shit because like if you go to the same people just travel from mic to mic and they're like, I saw you at the last one. They just start talking and I was
I don't know why I thought it was so much more friendly, but maybe it was just because people were more. If the sincere people were really sincere, but I never had half the fucking issues, never had half the fucking problems that I've had in New York or in LA that never in New York, never.
It's jealousy. It's a whole town of jealousy, dude.
It's like too much negative energy, like my man Puff said.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I haven't been here long enough, but like whenever I would do well on shows out here, I would so easily get shows from other people. Like people like, oh, do you want to do my show? Do you want to do my show? In New York, no one will help you get shows. Especially, they're very weird about it. Like I remember one time I asked this kid that I know because he got a show, and I was like, "Oh, how'd you get that?" And he goes, "I don't know." And I'm like, "What did God whisper in your ear? How the fuck did you find out about this fucking show?" And he goes, "Someone hit me up." And I'm like, "All right, buddy, okay." And that's like a common thing. Like people don't want to share. Weird, you know. But I've noticed people share more shows out here for sure. They're like, "Oh, I saw you do good at that mic. You want to do my show?" All the time.
That, you know what, that might be too like a level thing, because let me pick up this name here. One of the things that Joey said right off the fucking
Joey who?
bat, you know who he is. One of the things that Joey said.
Go on.
Tribbiani?
Joey Lawrence. One of the things that Joey said was, he goes, the really good comics, they don't fucking keep score like that. And he goes, they don't give a shit. And it was so true. Like I think of how DePaulo was when you did the set before him. He was just totally cool. I mean, talked with everything. It was great. It was never any shit like that. And Joey was the same shit. Like it was like I remember one time I asked, how much time am I gonna do? And he was like, how much time you want to do? And he just fucking dead-eyed me. And Lee was like, oh. You could feel Lee like walk back. Where the fuck? Lee! Where's my Lee? And he was like, how much time you want to do? You want to do 15? And I was like, and he's like, do 7. But if you want to do 15, you can do 15. What do you want to do, cocksucker? And I was like, I'll do 7. And he's like, why not do 15? And I was like, oh, wow. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And he goes, what's with all the fucking questions? And I just remember like, okay, I'm sorry. And then like, but you learned right away, like, he would never tell you how much time you were doing. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I always loved was like when you would be in the green room and you would have these really good comics. They never fucking measured their subwords. Mm-hmm. It was always like, oh, fuck Simmons, how you doing, man? How have you been? Fuck, I haven't seen you forever. Mm-hmm. And it was always like that, dude. Like even back at the Comedy Store, it was like, hey, this is my friend Eric. And I was like, oh my God, like you're, meeting all these great comics. Not famous, but great fucking comics.
You got famous ones too.
Well, yeah.
Some of your stories were fucking ridiculous. I was like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, but it was one of those things where those guys really gave a shit about like, oh, this guy is a great comic. And like I said, it was that way with you immediately, and it was just like, holy shit, like this guy is fucking hilarious. It's fun to watch a comic like you work, you guys too. But it's like, where's the turn gonna be? Where's the iron? Like, cause you learn so much by watching good comics like you guys work, and it's like, fuck yeah. But there is no bullshit in the sense of like I've even told you, like, have you heard about this show? Like we were talking about shows on the way before I fucking fell on the goddamn crack that.
Oh, we were talking Survivor. Yeah, that's my show now. Yeah. Not even joking. It's
a great show.
They put it on Netflix, and I was like, I already watched everything else on Netflix. So me and my girl were like, let's try it out. Yeah. And I'm so hooked that I'm like, I actually want to be on Survivor now. Yeah. Legit. I want to be on Survivor so fucking bad.
Did you ever see The Floor is Lava?
No.
On Netflix? Oh, wait, there might be a couple familiar faces on there.
You should watch it, dude. It's a good one. The first episode. 1540. You should watch it. Yeah.
What is it like what kind of show is it?
It's like Netflix's version of Wipeout, pretty much.
Ooh.
After you listen to this podcast and then you watch the show, you're gonna be like, "Why the fuck did you dupe me, Rocha?" I hate those guys now.
Is it like American Ninja Warrior type of shit?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like literally they have an obstacle course and the lava is just.
If you watch them all douche in the green room before. No, but I always remember that, just seeing that circle just fucking get depleted every single time you threw like an insult to somebody. And it was just, I don't know why they don't fucking.
Well, it's intimidating, dude. It's like tapping out. It's like, dude, there's a point where like you're not gonna like for someone like Luke, like you're not gonna outwit him. He'll have a fucking line. So it's like
Fanto can do it. Fanto's
fucking hilarious. I'm just saying, like there gets a point where it's like, you know what? You can either be a spectator or leave. Yeah. And I like to sit and watch because I'm like, you know what? I'll just be quiet and just like let you duke it out.
But even, dude, he'll shoot innocent bystanders. If you're fucking standing by, I see you over there, and he'll just fucking he'll tear you down. He
doesn't give a fuck. That's the best thing, though. It's like, like I said, even that night, it was anybody that was even close to the vicinity of where we were.
I do appreciate though when someone has the power to turn it off, though. You know what I mean?
That's what it is. Exactly.
Because not the worst when you're in a green room and people are like doing that, and you're just like, I just want to talk about regular things. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's super.
Oh, I'm talking like
he's always on.
Fonzo's one of my first friends that I met out here years ago. He's great, and he could when he turns it off, he's a great dude. Sometimes you have to just tell him shut up.
I've never seen him. You're probably around him more than me, but I've never seen him off. As soon as you see him coming, you're like, oh fuck, here we go.
he's an interesting dude. Yeah, very interesting.
He's funny. He's a funny motherfucker.
Yeah, he was one of the first people I met when I moved out here.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I met him through my friend Gary, who moved out here way before I did. I don't know if you know Gary Lelly. Super Italian.
Sounds familiar.
Used to wear a suit on stage. Very Italian.
Jesus. Did he fucking eat spaghetti while he was doing his act? Holy shit.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's
I
very.
just swore I got to do
He's a
4
big
affadas.
dude.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like stand-up's not his regular. I think he actually like. If there's a dude I'm thinking of, he like makes a living doing like he's actually pretty wealthy, isn't he?
He's got money for
What's
sure.
his name,
Yeah.
Gary Webb?
I think I know what you're talking about. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's a ball buster. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking
He's
about.
a Fonto all the time.
Yeah.
Gary Lelly.
Dude, what a letdown. You met Fonto
Lelly.
and then everybody else in
Oh,
LA,
no.
dude. Just everybody else is just downhill from there.
I've met some pretty cool people out here for sure.
There are cool people, I
Yeah.
will say. It's just like the people that do suck really suck.
Yeah.
I remember one time we were doing an outdoor mic, and it seemed to go on fucking forever. And I remember I was like, God, this is fucking awful. And I looked up at you, and you had the most fucking disparate look. Like you looked like Bob Cratchit on Christmas morning. And then you changed the story, like, fuck you, Cratchit. Yo, what? And you were just like, fucking ahead, like, I've never seen your little arm touch your leg and your face at the same time. And you could just see, like, oh, he's missing his family right now. Like, oh, there's good times that he could be having. And
Well, I'll say this about some of the mics. I'm like, because like you were saying in New York, it's a lot more, like people get really involved at the mics.
Yeah.
And so they're good mics when you do a mic. But here, there's a lot where it's like people pay $5 to just stare at people for some
Yeah.
reason.
Dude, that's
And,
what I was going to say.
I've had to call people out, like, what the fuck did you pay $5 for? I'm going to look at you too, fucko. You know, like,
Well, I took a picture and I sent it to you.
oh, yeah, that was great. I don't
Cheap therapy is what they pay for.
I think there's a
Yeah.
lot more of people wanting to get famous by doing stand-up out here, too. And in New York, they're
Yep.
about, like, being a good stand-up. And out here, they're about being seen and rounding out their fucking resume.
Well, New
100%.
York, the way they, like, people disagreed with me even moving out here. They're like, you don't move out to L.A. until L.A. tells you to move out there.
Yeah, I heard a lot.
Or
yeah,
else you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
But I didn't agree with that. For sure.
That used to be a common. I don't agree with that either because I remember I lived out there for a little bit. But one of the things that they always used to say was L.A. was the big evil because you didn't go out to L.A. until you had a project. Mm-hmm. But I remember specifically it was like, nah, L.A. is where you can fucking make money. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it, but it's fucking true. Like even in it, like look at Broadway. It's fucking Disney. It's the Disney Channel down there. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It still
Yeah.
is. It's just like I remember what it was the Blood and Carnage or what was it? Something in Carnage, and it was James Gandolfini, the Broadway show that he did, and it was fucking spectacular.
Wow.
But it was one of those great fucking gritty plays that like Pacino would have done in the 70s when nobody knew who the fuck he was. But you don't get shows like that anymore. The only way that you can get back on Broadway is by doing a fucking movie in LA, making a name, and then saying to yourself, I want to do Glengarry Glen Ross on Broadway. And then they bring fucking Pacino, and then they bring in the heavy hitters. But these are all guys that want to do theater shit. And it's the same thing like with, at least in stand-up. Like I remember working at Caroline's, and then like you started seeing more white people come in to see Paul Mooney after Chappelle's show had really blew him up, and it was just like, then it was like, holy fuck! Of course Mooney was gonna sell out, but you didn't know. You know, holy shit! Look at there's so many white, and he used to laugh. He's like, ooh, there's more white people here. And it was always so fucking funny to watch that. But yeah, that was Hollywood. Like, and I think Chappelle Show was shot in New York. But anyways, the point of it is it just like in LA you can make more money doing shit. Like a lot of people I knew from New York, at least in my class when I moved out here, they moved to LA just because my buddy Russell Lewis, he just got done doing The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. And he also did Godless with Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
And the one thing he said, he goes, oh, I miss doing live stage shit. And he's like, but there's no money in it in New York.
Yeah.
And it's
No.
so goddamn fucking expensive, dude.
Yeah, you have to do the road. You have to. I mean, you get good in New York, but
Yeah.
you have to. In my opinion, I used it for 5 years to just get as good as I could in a short period of time because I feel like there's a window of time. Like, 'cause sometimes you meet people that are like some of the best comics you'll ever see in your life in New York that like you'll never hear of on the mainstream because they missed that window to like move out here and get that name for themselves because they're fucking in their late 40s, early 50s, and it's like You can't just move to a new city and be like, I'm the new kid and be 50 years old, you know?
No, you're exactly right. And it's just, it's a fucking shame because it's like, I always say, like, why don't more people know who Robert Schimmel was? Or, you know, I think a lot of people knew who Richard Jenny was, but why don't more people know who fucking Dave Attell is? Like, Dave Attell should be at the level that fucking Alan Havey was, or you know what I mean, like where he's in Casino, where he's in all of these, because you could put Dave Attell in any spot, and thank God, you know, say what you want about Amy Schumer, but she fucking put some great people in her fucking movies, and thank God, I'll defend that for the rest of my life.
It's like Godfrey and Greer Barnes are two people that you're like, how the fuck do people not know who these are? Because Godfrey, I've never seen anyone kill like that live. Like no one would want. Like I would never want to have to follow that.
Well, you know what's fucked up is like, at least like my experience in LA is like the biggest embodiment of like exactly what you were saying, Roach, is like, so they did the Fresh Faces last year for the Laugh Factory.
Yeah,
they had 2 porn stars on the fucking Fresh Faces. It's like, of all the comics in LA, all the comics, you're gonna get fucking porn stars to come on there.
They've had enough on their faces, you know?
Exactly, but it's like... But it's like, they're literally just on there because you're like, you don't give a fuck if they're actually funny.
Right.
You just want tickets. So it's like, that's the perfect embodiment of shit out here. It's like, hey, like, if you have it on, it's cool. If not, we'll prop you up, or if you have something to offer, otherwise go fuck yourself. That's what it
in
is.
New York, if you're a porn star and you do comedy, they're like, all right, cool. You just go do a mic.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how it should be.
Yeah,
that's how
no one cares.
But
it's a crazy thing. Like I even remember too, fucking Caroline's of Broadway doing. I remember I was working the door for Rich and Bonnie's show. Bonnie, and I remember I was like, "Can I come down and watch your show, Rich?" And he's like, "Yeah, you'll
Did you have to buy a CD too?"
Well, this is what somebody's like. Yeah, you'll take up 2 seats. It'll be great. And I remember he had me dying, and it was one of those. Some chick was giving him, some fucking Puerto Rican chick was really hammering into him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, are you not getting the jokes? Should I do them in broken English?" And I remember fucking, and this was like before he was known as like the perfect counter punch, because it was just like, God damn, you can shit on this guy all you want.
Yeah.
But he'll get you back. Like,
his crowd work's fantastic.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you can't fucking beat this guy. You think, he'll do the rope a dope where you'll tire yourself out, and then he'll clean your clock, man.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But that's like the one thing that I miss about New York, that, and I don't even know if it's a New York thing. I think it's a good solid comic thing where it was just like, like your buddy was just like, I ate a dick that night. And it's just like, and I had to follow somebody that was better. And it was just like, look, newer comic, that wasn't what you thought it was. That was a man that was being executed going, please.
Yeah. I guess that's just like a learning curve too, because you have to learn how to reset a crowd after a good comic, because you can't just, you can ride their energy for like the first 2 minutes, but then they're like, oh yeah, you're not him, you know what I mean? And it's going to slowly wane out. So you have to learn how to reset that crowd, because if you don't, then you're just going to fucking die. But Rich, I opened for him in Yonkers, and the microphone went out at the end of my set, before his set. And he murdered for an hour with no microphone, just sitting on a stool, just fucking talking kind of loud. And like, it drew the crowd in. I'm like, he's a fucking beast.
Every New York guy sits. I love it. Fucking, what's his name? The Pitbull of comedy, whatever the fuck his name is.
Bobby Slayton.
Bobby Slayton. All those guys, to the old guy, they just get on the stool and they just sit and they just start picking out the crowd. I'm like, oh, fucking here we go. They're never fucking out here, those guys. Like, once in a while they'll stop at like improv. Like, I saw Voss there last year, but it's like, I wish they were out here more. It sucks. I don't get to see
it was the same thing like with DePaulo.
It's a different energy.
I remember when DePaulo was at the Harbor Club, right?
Yeah.
The Harbor Club. I thought I was gonna fucking die, and it was just like, and he even made a comment. He's like, "I'm fucking killing with this guy." But I don't know what, like, even it was funny because we were talking about Henny Youngman. So it was me and a bunch of residents, and I was laughing because I was like, at least he told fucking I mean, and I think that it really is like an East Coast thing because, like I said, it's something that I don't feel like it's just not in my bones to do joke after joke after joke after joke. Not that I wish I couldn't. I wish I could. But there's something that's so respectable about that kind of setup punch that I fucking absolutely love, man. That's again, and you've got that in handfuls. I love that about you, Simmons. It's fucking awesome. But
I'm autistic, so that's the way I think. Nick's one of those ones where I wonder if, because of his politics, he's just been kind of just blackballed from clubs.
100%.
Because
100%.
I'm seeing that more and more. Like the guy who I used to open for all the time, Aaron Berg, there's people trying to cancel the Zoom shows that he's on and picket his Zoom shows as if they're trying to say this guy should not even be able to perform online on Zoom. And I'm like, how far are people going to take
That's
this
one
shit?
thing New York has over us is like your people that are offended are so much more militant. Like they do not fuck around. They're like they go like out here people will complain or like I'm like, but like New York, like they will fucking shut you down. Like they'll show up
they'll
outside
pick
your
it
show.
outside of the club.
Yeah. They'll try to get you shut down. Yeah,
But I actually think those are funnier comics. Like DePaul is great because he now does not give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's almost like what happened to Louis, where like Louis obviously got.
But they were
blackballed.
picketed outside the cellar when he was there.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but it's like now Louis doesn't care, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just do any hesitation I had beforehand. I don't give a fuck at all."
Yeah,
So
he
now it's
doesn't
almost like
lose.
he's funnier.
I think he's a different comic now,
Oh,
Louis.
yeah.
Because the one thing, you know what made me laugh? I don't know if I told you this. So we
Floor's
were
open?
all kind of waiting. No, oh God, no. So after you did your set, it was great. Then Paulo did his, fucking murdered, and so everybody's lining up, and I was just like, Nick, I go, I'll hate myself if I don't, man. I was like, can I get a picture with you? He's like, yeah, get a fucking picture with me. Like, he was totally cool about it. And I had my Yankees hat on, like my black Yankees hat. And he goes, yeah. And he fucking
pandering.
Dude, he fucking
Oh, he's a Red Sox
grabbed me.
fan.
No, yeah, he's a Red Sox
Yeah.
dude. And I still had it on, though. And he fucking grabbed me hard, dude. And I was like, God damn, this fucking Guinea strong, motherfucker. Like, I could have kicked it down. But like, he fucking grabbed me. He's like, yeah, you got a nice fucking hat. And he's smiling the whole time. And he's do you remember this?
I don't know. I didn't know that.
So like, I'm really smiling at the picture because I'm laughing. He goes, yeah. You fucking think you stand a chance in hell against us? And he goes, really? And he's like, okay, yeah, we'll fucking see you in the playoffs. And he totally great. But I mean, it was just like, this guy does not give a fuck.
No.
And I just,
That's how it should be.
I love that about him. Like, that was the thing that I remember about him. He made a joke about Patrice. It's in a special. Fuck you guys, look it up. But
His special was one of the best ones of last year, by the way.
it was.
It's on YouTube.
The
Yeah,
DePaulo
it's
one?
Yeah, it's great.
Beyond
One of the best
Free
ones.
Online
Pure
one.
jokes. Just pure jokes the whole time. No fucking agenda. I mean, obviously he's like conservative or whatever,
Yeah.
but like either way, it's just like good jokes all the way throughout.
Well, and that's the thing is he doesn't even define himself politically because he'll be the first to tell you he loved Bill Hicks, which is a curveball if you think you've got him pegged because you don't. It's just like what. How could a comic like him love Bill Hicks? And it's just like, oh yeah, he loved the jokes, he loved the irony. That
Yeah, I even love a comic that looks different at politics different than me, or has a different view, but can make me laugh with that joke. Like I'm pro Second Amendment, but when Jim Jeffries did that gun joke, I'm like, that's a fucking
Oh, it's a great joke.
brilliant fucking joke,
Yeah.
fucking one of my favorite jokes, and that's my favorite. When someone who's opposite of me could fucking make me laugh, that's fucking genius. You know, that's how you know it's a good fucking joke.
So was your family funny?
Yeah. It's just like the neighborhood that I grew up in. Like, yeah, everyone's a ball buster. It's Italian neighborhood. Like, if you work at a deli, you're just doing crowd. I worked at a deli. It's crowd work all day. You know what I mean? Like, you're fucking people coming in. They're shitting on you. You're shitting on them. And that's just like how my neighborhood is. Ball busting. So
All I heard
Looks
was
like you have
deli.
to be a ham.
but yeah, like
Cheesy jokes.
you have to have a sense of humor in that neighborhood for sure. It's Italian neighborhood, so everyone's fucking ball busting.
Is the Bronx gentrified now, or is that Harlem? Am I fucking that up?
They're trying to gentrify South Bronx.
Okay.
I mean, who knows with the pandemic if it's actually going to happen now? But like they closed down this strip club that used to be great because they used to give comics time. They used to have this thing called Amateur Idol. It was a weekly thing, and they pay the comics very well. and feed you very well. And what your job was to announce the amateur strippers that were coming up in a competition, and you had to roast the shit out of them the whole time.
Oh man,
That's
and
great.
just destroy them.
that's fucking great.
I guess the more ruthless you could be, the better. And fucking the gentrifiers came in like, we can't really have this around because there's going to be schools built in this area. And it's just like, I hope it doesn't get gentrified, but
Were there fucking
in time.
7-year-olds walking into the club or what? No.
They had a school they were building right near there, so they were like,
What a load of
I
shit,
don't want
dude.
I don't want your schools. I don't want to sold to children.
The only reason I was dating a girl from New York, and she was like talking about the Bronx and like, yeah, everything's changed. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't sound as good.
no.
It sounds better when it has like that.
Where I live, like you wouldn't even know like where I lived. Where I lived was is you wouldn't even know you were in the Bronx. Like it's like a fucking very Italian. Like you either speak only Italian or Italian and English, and that area is never gonna change just because it's like mafia money and shit like that. Like no one's gonna buy them out.
Yeah.
But the neighborhoods in South Bronx, because like those are the neighborhoods where you don't even need a car. You could take the train. You need a car where I live because it's like 25-minute walk to get to a train. And they want it that way. They don't want anybody from the trains coming towards them. So, like, that's actually the way I was talking to someone about that recently. In New York, if you live near a train station, like right near, that's how you know you're in a shitty fucking neighborhood. Always.
No, seriously.
All the shit always happens near there's always a liquor store and shit going and homeless people every train stop.
Get a diner that's dog shit.
Yep.
It's fucking.
Payday advance. Fucking.
You know, the only thing nice, the only nice thing about is you usually get like a good real estate. It's always near the subway. And
it's brutal if you're at someone's house trying to watch the game and the fucking train goes by every 5 minutes. Brutal.
I remember Ozone Park, Queens was fucking so nice.
You liked it there?
One particular area, which obviously but it was just like, why is this so much cleaner than everywhere else? And you were like, these motherfuckers have like. Outside of a butcher shop, somebody's wearing a fucking suit, and I was like, I'm getting the fuck out. And I mean, I felt eyes on me the minute I was like, I'm getting.
Queens is weird because it's the most diverse part of the world. There's nowhere in the world is it more diverse than Queens, but it's also so segregated too. Like you walk one neighborhood, you're in the Middle East. The next neighborhood, you're in Italy. It's like fucking Epcot. You know what I mean? You could walk 3 blocks and go through 3 different countries.
We had to move to Ditmars and Steinway. I remember.
I lived over there too.
Yeah, my roommate was.
My worst bomb is right there.
Where at?
There's a Greek pizzeria, and they booked me.
Wow, your people too.
Yeah.
Great pizzeria.
So this would happen. They double booked it. They booked a Puerto Rican surprise birthday party and a comedy show at the same time. Ooh. And also most of that person's family just got out of prison for some weird reason.
So Cardi B's relatives, pretty much. Yeah.
We were on stage and we were all trying to tell jokes, but they did not want to listen. And there was like 75 of them just walk around the bar, just ignoring us. Yeah. And then this one girl who was on stage, I'm not going to say her name, she's on stage and it's not going great. And not even acknowledging us, which really sucked. But
Amy Schumer?
This girl was telling a joke, mid-joke, someone goes, "Shut the fuck up, the birthday girl's coming." And they turned her mic off and shut the lights off.
Oh my god!
It was.
It's like that fucking. Remember that comic in Sopranos starts doing Ed Sullivan? Bring up Richie Aprile because he just got back out. No, straight from the show, Richie Aprile.
It was just you had to do crowd work or else you were gonna die a slow death. That's happened to me recently. I did that Baja show, and I guess it's a Mexican biker gang's home club, and they didn't know they were going to be there that day. Yeah. And I watched a bunch of comics before me try and do material and tell stories to a biker gang, and they just shit all over them, just destroying them. And I just went on stage, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a huge risk, but I'm going to call someone gay right off the bat. And it fucking worked, and I said crowd worked all the time, and I was like, whew, I got like that second, though, between calling one of the bikers gay and fucking the laugh felt like 4 hours.
You know what's funny?
And that one hit, I was like,
with that biker gang, they probably killed that guy. It was either going to be you or the fucking biker. He called you a fag. You didn't do anything. We got to kill you because he was funny.
I was like, I'm not going to come up here and tell stories and die.
So one last thing I want to ask you about the Cellar, man. What is the Cellar being a New York comic?
That's the end all be all.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, it's The play that's like it's like Yankee Stadium. You know what I mean? It's like,
dude, it fucking haunts my dreams.
In my eyes, the best comics ever have come out of that place. I mean, the store has beasts, but like a lot of them have come like the beasts from there have either come from the cellar or like some of them aren't even past the cellar. Like Jim Jeffries is not a comedy cellar guy. Like someone was featuring for him, like, oh, why don't you go over the cellar? He's like, I'm not past there.
Yeah,
you know, which is crazy. You know, like because Esty she's the booker there, and she cares about comedy, does not give a fuck about who you are. So whether or not you're famous or not famous, there's been people like names that people have brought up. I'm not gonna say their names. That like them household names, but they've tried to get into the cellar, could not pass their 5-minute test, and we're just like, nah, we don't care what you did. You know, so she brings the best. That's why it's just loaded.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
they don't give a fuck who you are.
New York.
It really is. Dude. Like it's frightening. I think the Comedy Store had it in the 80s because you had Dice, you had and you know who they
like
are.
the Comedy
Sam
Store
Kinison.
like the Boston.
Exactly, and it was just like holy shit. Like these guys were fucking animals.
So
I
didn't pass Louis.
feel like it shifted though because again
Didn't pass Seinfeld either.
and that's the thing of it. Like I love about Seinfeld is just on WTF when he was like, Mitzi seemed like she liked her broken toys. Mm-hmm. And it was a really interesting perspective on
also the cellar. Another thing about
it,
it doesn't matter who you are. Also, if you start bombing all the time, you're done. And it sucks if you're a newer comic because I've seen newer comics that got past there because they could pass the 5 minutes, but they couldn't hang for 15 and they just never got booked again. And you can't re-audition. You're just done.
Yikes.
So like only a few people have come back after they've lost it. It was like Louis C.K. is one of them, and very few other people. But I know people that they're like, I wish I would have waited till I was a killer because I could kill for 5 minutes, can't keep up like following Dave Attell and murder for 15 minutes after that.
Yeah.
And if you can't kill, and they make sure to watch. There's someone who watches every set to see if you're holding up, and if you can't hold up, you're done.
Dude, that's like the biggest fear. At least like anytime you get an opportunity in LA or like, every now and then you'll get a random set at the store. It's like, fuck, you have that pressure. And it's like, it is like your audition.
That is cool about the store though, where you don't have to be like a store comic to perform there. You know what I mean?
Now
with
it's
the cellar, there's no
up.
such thing as a bringer show or
Dude, it's weird. I don't know. It almost feels like you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Well, like if you do the belly room and it's like, hey, it's like an independent show. It's like you're there. You feel like you should be doing,
I've done the belly room a couple times. I just don't say that I've done it. Just because I'm like, I don't want to. People are like, oh, the OR or the, and I'm like, no. It was a bringer that I was.
Dude,
fucking
it's
booked
still
on.
the same intensity. The belly room might be the most intense.
Yeah.
Actually, the OR is tough because
depends on who you
the
are.
OR looks like because that's what made me want to move to LA. When I saw the OR, I was like, that is my favorite stage that I've ever seen.
OR is, I would say the OR is the most intense because like, I don't know, we've done like very rarely like open mics, potluck, whatever, shit like that, and you see all the names and like the fucking neon lights, and you're like, oh fuck, like, all these motherfuckers have been on the stage.
Yeah.
So you really have to. It's almost like a mental battle where it's like, yeah, there's people in the crowd, but it's like, this is like a fucking historical landmark. You really have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So you kind of, that's like a different internal battle. Main room, I think main room's pretty fucking easy, to be honest.
Yeah. What's that? That's the bigger room, right?
Huge room.
Yeah.
Huge room. It's just like perfectly designed for comedy.
Big ego ramp that goes out into the fucking crowd.
I mean, it really is. Yeah. It's perfectly designed for comedy. 400 seats. Like,
But the OR is the hardest.
Yep.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it is because I've done well there, and the worst I ever bombed was in the OR. And
can you please tell that? Can you please tell it? It's my favorite
I gotta
story.
hear
was there.
It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty fucking bad. So
Not as bad as the other people that were in there, though.
Notice how he didn't say you did fine. He goes, it wasn't that bad.
No, he's done. I've seen him do real good. He's making it sound where it wasn't.
No,
He
there's
didn't
been
do great,
there's been
but when you saw people
bombs.
bombing there, they fucking bombed. He didn't do that.
So
I'll tell you, believe me, I
give
wish.
I'll give you the setup and the fucking Joey was calling in spots, and it was a favorite, and it was one of those I want you to
Yeah.
you know how it is.
This guy's funny. Put him on.
Development, and it was just like, okay, cool. So I'm up there and I fucking do the, please, I'm gonna need two. So it's again, I'll say this, dude. Joey doesn't like questions.
No?
Like, it just did. What the fuck's up that you're beaten? Just sit in the room and be with me.
Yeah.
And that's how you. It's the same way. It's just like, can you sit there in the crux of a storm and just be with somebody?
Just hang, yeah.
Exactly. So, because dude, there's nothing worse than somebody fucking trying jokes on
Yeah.
you, right?
Oh my god, I hate that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
These guys got a funny Donnell Rawlings story about
Yeah.
that. But so, anyways, so Joey calls in his spot, and he would never let me know that he was going to do it. He would always call me like at 1, whatever it was, 1, 2 o'clock, and I would always get nervous on Mondays at 1 or 2 o'clock, and I changed my whole work schedule, Nick. Like I have Mondays off because of that, man.
Yeah.
And it was so fucking scary because I was like, okay, fuck, all right. And I would look at my phone, and if it said Joey Diaz at 1 o'clock, I was like, fuck! Oh my god, okay, fuck, fuck. So he, you never knew because he was like, so I did a gig at Lake Havasu with these guys, and I mean, it was great. Like I did really well that gig. It was fucking awesome.
Some would say you outshine the headliners. Some would say that.
So yeah, but you know what I mean. It was
Yeah.
just you were doing shows. It was fucking great. So that gets in your head. You get the stink of the fucking road on you. That's the only problem with doing the road too long. Is just like,
Become a road
oh
dog.
shit, yeah, like. You know what's gonna work, and you know the tools and the tricks.
You start doing fake crowd work. That Asian guy in the back is laughing. Yeah.
I will
This
say,
guy knows what I'm talking about. Rocha thought he was hot shit coming out of the Havasu gig. He thought he was, and he did great. He did great.
to be fair,
he deserved it. Yeah.
Again, okay, yeah, whatever. That's what I just said. I don't know why you had to fucking echo. So, anyways, I get the call in, and Joey's like, yeah, okay. So. I go up and I'm like, yeah, who do I need to whatever? Because it's different every time. It's such a fucking again. Joey just says, go there, be there at 1 o'clock, or be there at 6 o'clock. Bye. And you're like, okay. Bye. So get there, and it was just a bad juju from the get-go, dude. The door people were like, who called for you? And I was like, Joey did, and they were like, okay. Go tell Adam. And I was like, no, just, and usually you sign in with the host, but they fucked me good that night. I was like, all right, that's whatever, that's.
Took a huge L.
Exactly. So.
Roach, sorry, was this your first night doing the belly room? The OR?
I had done it before.
The first calling he had for you? Or was this? Okay, you've done it before.
I had done it a few times. Like I said, again, that's what happens when, I was lucky.
Yeah.
So I go to Adam, and I'm literally, I could have been a Dickensian street child with my fucking hat in my hand, just like, so, Mr. Diaz called, and he said he'd like me to do some comedy.
You shake your can at him.
And long story short, Adam's like, who did he talk to? And I was like, I don't know, Adam. I really don't. And I even told Adam, I was like, honestly, if you can't get to me tonight, that's totally fine. And Adam's like, no, man, it's not like it. It's not like it. So it's like, okay. He's like, just let me check something really quick. He gets up out of his chair, which fucking sucks because when he gets up, that's another comic he doesn't see.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, no. Oh my god, I'm the biggest piece of shit.
Yep.
So he comes back and he's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna put you up at this, And I was like, okay. And dude, I fucking.
You have to follow someone good.
No, it wasn't even that. Everybody was bombing left and right, and then I was like, I'll just do the shit that I did at Lake Havasu because that was fucking great. You know what I mean? The road.
Yeah.
The road will never do you wrong. Fuck that. The road is a whore and she hates you.
Which, by the way, Rocha is usually more of a storytelling guy. I feel like, was this a set where you were just like quick jokes? Or was
no,
this
it was the opposite.
That's right.
I was doing a story and I was like, I'm good enough, man. I don't need quick jokes. I'll just do a good long story.
This was like a very America's Got Talent sort of story, I believe, right?
You weren't even. I don't know, Luke. What?
I can't remember.
He was trying to tell a story. It was like gay jokes or stuff. He was trying.
No, it wasn't.
You had to
I've
talk
seen
into a
it
mic.
so many
Alvin.
times I can't remember.
It did
I don't,
well.
I don't remember you doing that bad, so it doesn't stick out to me.
It did
that
well
much.
in Havasu. It did well in the gig we did.
Yeah.
So he went and did it over, and it just might have done.
Yeah, I remember you doing longer bits, and I was like, oh, I wouldn't have done that one. Yeah.
So
You're doing Havasu jokes. Like, what's the deal with yellow lights?
London Bridge in Phoenix, are you kidding? So I fucking, long story, I start eating a dick. And I see Adam fucking with one hand rub his eyes.
Oy.
And I was like, oh. And I could literally hear Richard Pryor's ghost being like, well, motherfucker, you never work in the goddamn comedy store. And it was so bad, it was so quiet that I could hear them wrapping silverware.
Oh my god.
So I remember I got like moments after I got a buzz in my pocket, and it was Luke going, E. It was all capital E's and W's.
That's
But
great.
but again though, it was so great. And I mean, I remember that night because Lee Syatt said it the best. He said, here's the thing with Joey. He's got a plan. He does. But he doesn't tell anybody what it is. And it's so perfect. He's like,
Sounds
he's
right.
the only one that knows what it is. So he called me like at fucking 11 that night. And I was like, I didn't want to answer. I was like, oh, fuck. And I remember I answered. I was like, hello? And he's like, dog, what happened? And I was like, I fucked up, man. I had a gig in Lake Havasu. I fucking knew that material would work, and I got too cocky. That's what happened. I got too cocky. I fucking got my head got big, and I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah, you can do good. I was like, I did better than the fucking headliners, Joe. But fuck it. What does it matter? It doesn't fucking matter because I wasn't funny. Like and I just hear this, and I go, are you fucking laughing at me? And he's like, oh my God, dog, I heard. And I was like, what are you fucking laughing at? And he's like, oh my God, you don't know what it's like to bomb in there, cocksucker. And he goes, try having a candle that's showing Mitzi Shaw's face. And I was like, what? And he's like, motherfucker, we thought Mitzi Shore had that goddamn OA bugged. He goes, she was listening from her house, cocksucker. And he went on the story about how he's like, good, you should bomb. Like, the biggest dream that you have, fuck it up. Because you don't know what it's worth until you fucking piss all over it on accident. And that next week, I mean, he called me that next week and he goes, I fucking called it again. You. And I remember that was a night where Fanto came out to me and he said that was a good set.
Yeah.
And Fanto has no reason to bullshit me. And you saw that set too.
Yeah.
It was a good fucking set. And I, like, to this day, I still remember, like, fuck, it keeps you humble. That's why I say I will fucking always laugh at a comic bomb because that's what happened. Like, and I'll never forget Joey just like dying laughing because I wanted it so goddamn bad.
Wasn't that after too when we were standing around on Sunset and Joe List walked by?
Dude, I
great.
forgot about that. Joe List made me feel so much better.
He never even like met him. He never heard. Cause I fucking love Joe. He's like one of my favorite.
He's great.
Comics. Yeah. And I was like, here it comes. And then, you tell him.
No, I'll let you.
I can't. You probably remember it better than me.
So yeah, here comes Joe List and Luke's just kind of standing there looking around.
Well, I just got done talking. Like we talked about Apocalypse Now for like 10 fucking because we're huge like movie nerds together. So like we just started talking. It was like I knew the guy forever. It's awesome. We were like talking bullshit. He's like, all right. So we like went our separate ways. And there was that weird thing where like then he sees me again like down the sidewalk 5 minutes later. It's like, did we stop and talk again? So I was like, oh fuck. Like what do I do?
And Luke's trying to make me feel better with like jokes of how bad it was and like, but not like, you know, like, oh, well, can't get any worse.
Stab him a little bit. Can't be too nice.
So here comes Joe List and I don't even know what fucking, I looked at Joe because he kind of like looked at me you could see a puppy that got ran over. Like, and I was like, and he's like, yeah, what's going on? I was like, oh man. I was like, and I told him everything. I was like, Joey Diaz called in a spot for me, and he fucking bombed it in front of Adam, and he's like, oh yeah. He goes, oh, that was a weird room tonight. And he's like, oh, who gives a shit, man? Mm-hmm. He's like, son, you'll do better next time. And he's like, yeah, that was a weird and he was saying how he didn't like that fucking room at all that night.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I didn't feel like I couldn't connect with him. And it was such a grounded thing where I'm like, oh yeah, but you're obviously 1,000 times better than I am. But it was one of those things where, to quote Patton Oswalt, is like you learn that the sun will come up, and that
Do you think because it's less like shows out here are like fewer and farther between that it makes it harder to learn how to bomb right, to deal with the bomb?
100%.
Yeah, because I'm so used to it to the point where I'm like I give myself 5 minutes to care, and then I'm like, all right, that's it.
New York is such a revolving door of people that you can bomb and it's just like, cool, never see him again.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It sucks for a little bit and then whatever. But it's like in LA, it seems like there's that pressure of oh my God, maybe there's a fucking talent agent. There's some bullshit that you convince yourself.
There's a manager in the crowd in New York. He's a manager of Applebee's.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not a real manager.
Dude, I wish everybody had the mentality out here because that's how it is. It's like no one actually cares.
No one cares.
Well, and that's the kind of thing I remember talking with Josh Potter about it too, and it was like, well, it's kind of the law of diminishing returns, and it's just like you can do 6 sets in a night, but if they all mean the same goddamn thing to you, then it doesn't mean anything. And that was probably one of the biggest lessons ever. And I mean, honestly, Nick, it wasn't until Bakersfield where Joey was like, I specifically wanted you for this show.
Yeah.
Because it's Bakersfield. And he was like, I want you to hit him with the gay shit early. Yeah. And it was just like, oh, fuck. But in the same breath too, though, like you with New York, I feel like, and I always say this every time, I'm one of the luckiest fucking people because he put me through what felt like a program where it was just like, I'm not gonna do well here, and he was like, I know, it's gonna be fucking amazing, and he always fucking laughed about it, and it was always one of those things where it was just like, and I remember in Bakersfield, he was like, fuck him, hit him, and it was just like, okay, all right, yeah, and I did, and it was one of those things where it was just like, I hate because that's the one name that I always drop, but it always the principles always stayed the same. Was tip whoever helps you really well. That was one thing. If you like a comic, tell them. Yeah. Because that's one of the principles. Is it's just like, and then I remember doing shows in San Diego. He told Lee, he's like, so you guys going by what are you guys bringing? And we're like, what? And he's like, you can't just fucking go to San Diego empty-handed. And it was like, oh, okay. I remember fucking poor Lee dropped so much money buying weed and joints and shit like that because we were giving all kinds of stuff out to
staff.
Yeah, which probably why I was like, do you smoke? Like, what? What have you got to offer? But yeah, you always take care of the people that take care of you. And again, I know that's such an East Coast mentality of okay, but I don't think it's new East Coast. I think that shit's old. Rich Voss, that kind of old East Coast.
Hotel buys people drinks right from the fucking
stage.
And
that's the thing of is I don't remember a lot of that in New York when I lived there. It was very, it wasn't as, not that it was close, but it wasn't as oh, we're going to give you shit, but we're the only ones that can give you shit about it. I don't feel like that was the thing in New York. Whereas here, I feel like there's a bit more of an edge to at least the friends that I choose to have. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's going to be, I'm going to shoot a your muscles are too big fucking joke to Simmons, and he's going to shoot a fat joke at me, and then we've got to watch out for Fanto, and then, Luke's got fucked up eyes, and then, there's all kinds of shit wrong with Verzies. But
I think it's good, though, he put you through, and he told, because I think one of the most important things that you learn early on is if you are scared to bomb, you're never going to go deep in